All right, what's up, everybody? Hey, guys, welcome. Guy here. And we are live on YouTube and on the podcast feed. We're coming to you as well throughout the week. Don't forget, you can email the show. Get in the mailbag, guy@heyguy.co. The 49ers are not going to pay Brock Purdy like he's Josh Allen this offseason. Prediction. I don't think it's going to happen. And that has nothing to do with this game. Well, it has a little to do with this game. It has nothing to do with Brock's performance in this game. But we always say when you watch a quarterback up against another premier quarterback, you see what the premier quarterbacks look like and how your guy stacks up. But this is not actually about really Brock that much today. What it's about first and foremost is whether or not it is all over. And we'll get to that in a second. The good news is, if there is any good news, the good news is that it's going to be 65 degrees this weekend in Santa Clara. The 49ers are playing the Bears. The bad news is the Bears fired their coach. They're going to get a scrappy, ready-to-roll Bears team. But the bad news is the Bears fired the coach. The good news is it's going to be 65 degrees. And the Adler brothers, Eric Adler, let me know that even though some people have quit on the season, Puesto is keeping its doors open at Levi Stadium. 2 locations at Levi Stadium. The show is brought to you by the wonderful people at Puesto Mexican Artisan Kitchen. Hardcore Niner fans. This restaurant has been crushing it. They got 2 locations in the Bay Area. They're in San Diego. They're in SoCal. They're in Orange County. They've got 2 locations in Levi Stadium. It's going to be warm enough for the margaritas. That is the good news. It's going to be warm enough for the margaritas with the fresh strawberry, the fresh lime. It's as good as it gets. Nobody is making tortillas in the stadium, in any stadium, the way that Puesto is making the tortillas in the stadium. All right. So you go to the stands at Levi Stadium. You get the Baja fried fish or the crispy shrimp tacos. You get the most popular. Maybe you're thinking, don't overthink it, guy. Get the filet mignon taco. I didn't even know filet mignon tacos were a thing until Puesto came along and changed all of our lives. Puesto, 2 locations, Levi Stadium. And then, of course, you go to the brick and mortars where they got the lobster tacos, the shrimp taco. Well, they got the short rib quesadilla taco, my personal favorite with the crispy melted cheese, the Jalisco salsa, the radish, the guacamole, on and on and on and on and on. Okay, the swordfish, the mushroom, the carnitas, the ribeye, the Baja fish, the chicken al pastor, and all of their fantastic appetizers. It's a good place to go hang. If you have a big appetite, it's a good place to go eat. If you have a high standard for food, it's a good place to go eat. If you love good drinks and just an awesome place to hang, you're going to love Puesto. Santa Clara, Concord, SoCal, Orange County. And this weekend, if you're going to the Niners game, and you're like, I got nothing to look forward to. It's the Niners and the Bears. Our pets' heads are falling off. At least there's Puesto. And there's margaritas, and you're going to enjoy yourself. So, Puesto, thank you for the support as always. Thanks to all of you who go to Puesto and tell me about it. And let's get on with the show. Producer Connor is backstage making sure that if you say something good, that hopefully I see it. Christian McCaffrey got hurt again. As we are doing this live reaction on Sunday night, we'll wait and see what Kyle Shanahan says about it. And, of course, there's a huge difference between whether or not this is an Achilles issue, which is where everybody's head goes. If you've been a sports fan, especially a tortured sports fan long enough, you have seen Achilles injuries. You've seen Kobe Bryant. You've seen Klay Thompson. You've seen, or was Klay the, I guess you've seen, which one did we see with Klay? That was the knee. The Achilles came, we didn't see. You saw Kevin Durant. You know, Christian had a much better, I'm not going to spend much time on this because by the time you're listening to this, you already know. He had a much better walk than Achilles guys have. The reason I am talking about it is that it does matter what his injury is in the big picture. It matters a little bit for this year, right? The title, if you're watching on YouTube on the video, is it time to tank? And the answer to that question is not yet, but almost. So it does matter a little bit for this year. And then, of course, it matters for the big picture. The dude looked like he'd finally Finally, PCL. Thank you. Connor's on it and you guys are on it. So PCL injury. All right. The guy looked like he'd finally got back in his rhythm. Absolutely killing it. Killing it. And then somehow injures his PCL. I don't know if it was on the play where he gets hurt and falls, whatever. It doesn't matter. What mattered for them on this day was they're in a desperate situation and they needed him in this game. In the grand scheme of their franchise, in the grand scheme of his career, if you told me Christian McCaffrey's 100% next year and he's back to his form, great, cool. At this point, he's a guy that's getting hurt a lot. Unfortunately, when he's healthy, he's still got it. But will he be healthy again? That's a question for now. That's a question for another time. On this particular day, he was a guy that gave him a shot to win. Like, as crazy as it sounds, that game starts and it's in the snow. And if you're like me, you started to build up a little anticipation until they kicked that field goal and you went, uh-oh, today's not going to be different. That was my first. They kicked the field goal and the thought is, oh shit, today actually, it's looked like it might be different for a second. It's not going to be different. But then they get a little chunk play. Yeah, Moody misses the field goal. They're down 7-3. Moody misses the field goal. Buffalo comes down, scores the touchdown. It's 14-3. And, one thing leads to another, and Mitchell Trubisky's in the game. One thing leads to another, and Mitchell Trubisky is playing the last 12 minutes of the game. That's a problem. That's way too early for Mitchell Trubisky. So 35-10, it felt like 50. As I'm watching that game, I'm thinking, are they going to get this thing to 50? They didn't. Not that it matters. They put on hats and T-shirts after the game. The Bills are a good football team, which we knew coming into the game. And I think the hard thing about what I said the other day post-game and what I'll say here in a second is that if you have eyes and you watch the game, the 49ers don't look like a team about to turn it around. They don't look like a team that can chase somebody down. They look like a team in desperate need of all kinds of help. And they are below the line where there's a clear line in the NFC. After the 7 seed, there's a clear line in the NFC. Washington looked bad the other day, then they come back and look good. They win. They're 8-5. The difference between the top 7 teams in the NFC and the bottom, the non-playoff teams, the NFC, like when you watch them, there's a difference. And Seattle found a way to beat the Jets today. They were down 21-7 in that game. They found a way to beat the Jets today. It got them to 7-5 instead of them being 6-6 and LA being 6-6. And Arizona being 6-6. And then at that point, even at 5-7, and I set this up last week, the Niners lost. They could lose again to Buffalo. You're supposed to lose to Buffalo when you're not a very good team. They're not a very good team, but their schedule was going to set up. It still does set up for them to get back over 500. Their schedule. They don't look like a team that's about to do that. If you said to me, Guy, what's more likely? The Niners win 3 in a row or lose every game they have left on their schedule? I'd say, yeah, every game they have left on their schedule. The Bears, the Rams, the Dolphins, the Lions, the Cardinals, week 18. Because Arizona lost today, and it may be that both teams are toast. Like that game could be Cody. I don't even know who. Scott Thompson. Who is the Cardinals' other quarterback? I'm making up names. That game could be Josh Dobbs against Skyler? No, that's a Dolphin. That game could be him against nobody. Is it Clayton Tune? Connor says it's Clayton Tune. That game could be Josh Dobbs against Clayton Tune, with both teams trying actively to lose at this point. Because I thought maybe you get Detroit with nothing to play for. Maybe Arizona will have wrapped up the division week 18, whatever. They need things to happen now. A, that are out of their control, but B, that it looks like they're not capable of making happen. Say what you want about Seattle, Guy, because you say all kinds of things about Seattle, Guy. Yes, I do. They play Arizona this week. They've won 3 in a row. They play Arizona this week. They play the Packers. They play the Vikings. They play the Bears, and they play the Rams. So, they could easily lose 2 of those games, if not 3 of those games. But so what? Like the Niners are 2 games worse than them in the loss column. So yeah, they could lose 3 of those games. Are the Niners winning all of their games? Right now, this was crazy. For all of the Niners, everybody, Trent's hurt, Bosa's hurt, Lenore's hurt, Ayuk's hurt. They didn't have Brock last week. He was hurt. Fine today, but hurt before. They're unlucky. It does feel like sometimes they're unlucky. But the reality is everybody has some things that go against them and some things that go for them. And then you still got to win. You got to play the games you got to win. Their division, the Niners are lucky, or at least they had a chance to be lucky. They couldn't make themselves lucky. Their division is so average that if they were just above average, they'd win the NFC West this year. So if somebody says you got the Niners just unlucky, it's true. There are plenty of things in the unlucky column that have occurred this year for them. It's true. It is crazy, by the way. Every one of this team's games looks exactly the same. It is wild. When you're in seasons like this, I think it feels like you've never seen anything like it. But this is such a Groundhog Day team. It's crazy. Anyway, if you made a list of all the things that make them unlucky, there are plenty of things that make them unlucky. But there are plenty of things that make them lucky too. And their division is one of those things. Losing this game, the math of it, we factored this one in as a loss last week when we talked about the math of it. The problem is the problem is twofold. Seattle won today. Arizona lost today, but Arizona plays the Patriots and the Panthers coming up. Now you play them head to head, and they play Seattle and the Rams. Arizona's schedule. Arizona is fascinating right now. But so the math is not great for them. And then the way they look, them. That is the biggest issue. So anyway, when I say, is it time to tank? It's December 1st. I'm not in a real rush on it. I think everybody wants to be the first person to say it's all over. They're finished. They suck. They can't do it. It's done. And then there's like a month of football left. And until the math, here's what I don't buy is the they quit stuff. I think when you're not good, they're not good enough. Oh, they quit. I hate to see this team with no fight. I know some people will disagree. It's fine. I don't think that's exactly what's happening here, which doesn't make it better or worse. That's just to say, I think they'll play against the Bears. The question is just, can they beat them? Do they make too many mistakes to beat the Bears? Oh, Debo fumbles. So I'm like, that's Debo. Debo had 2 big kickoff returns in the second half. He didn't quit. It's just not good. They're not good enough. They're not good enough. They're almost good enough on 15 plays. And when you add up 15 not good almosts, you get a big gap. I love when I see this with the Niner games. If they just get that, if they don't get that penalty early, if they just that holding, if Josh Allen doesn't, if Juice doesn't fumble, hold on. There's 17 of those things. And in the end, it's not almost. It's didn't. Wasn't close, really, in the end. A bunch of these things, it was close. And then in the end, it's not. So it wasn't. They've had some of those, but this was not one of them. You know why? Because the Bills are good. This game really highlights they've been losing to average and below average teams. The Bills are good. That's what it looks like when you play a good team. Oh, yeah, you can lose to Seattle by 3 and make it look like almost. You can lose to Arizona by 1 and make it look like almost. You can lose to the Rams by 3. Get that Vikings game down to 6 and make it look like we almost had them. That was a preview of what it looks like in the playoffs. So, the reality is, even for me, who has been talking about the math all year, or for the last couple of months at least. The math. And it's true. It is true. That's why I'm sticking to my process here of the math. You lose to the Bears, you lose to the Rams, you lose to the Dolphins. Until you're at the end of the year and you're under 500, like right now they're under 500 with time to get over and maybe or get to 500, maybe even above 500. That's not a prediction, by the way. But that time is there. Like that's when it really is the last shovel of dirt. Everyone wants to be the first one to be like, oh, see, I told you it's over. Or like when someone says what I'm saying, it's like, oh, they're trying to be positive. Nope. I'm just committed to the process of the math, the black and white numbers. Our eyeballs in color tells us none of that stuff is happening. Right. But so there's that with this group. But the reality is, even by that sort of a path, even that path I lay out with the math, even if it works, right? Even if Arizona, Seattle, the Rams all fall apart, you win the next three, you're over 500, you lose to Detroit, you beat Arizona on the last day, some miracle occurs, blah, 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 blah. Even with that math, it is fair to say what some of you are thinking. To quote the great Ricky Waters when he was an Eagle, for who, for what? What's the point of getting into the playoffs at 9-8, which you're not going to be able to do in the NFC this year, but let's just say we see what it looks like when they play the Bills, when they play the Vikings, when they play the Chiefs, when they play the Packers, AKA playoff teams. So what are we scratching and clawing to get to the wild card game for, only to run into an actual playoff team? Fair. My philosophy is always find your way to the playoffs, get into the dance, and whatever can happen, happens. But there's also something that's not philosophy, it's just reality. You look at it and go, these guys? How do you get a better player for next year? How do you get better players for next year? What are you going to do? How are you going to be good? Like really good? Like get to the playoffs with a chance to win the Super Bowl good. Not, oh, well, hey, we're Denver and we're in the playoffs and that hasn't happened in a while, so yay. We're Washington and our whole franchise has been turned around, so yay. Like you're not. That's not you. The goal is bigger. You've been there, done that, and the goal's not bigger because our franchise. This is our standard. We only play for champ. The goal is just bigger because you've been there, done that already with these guys. Like, no, that's not good enough anymore. Bars higher, not bars higher because somebody won it in 1983. Bars higher because it's higher now. Man. God. Oh. I like watching Malik Mustafa, Bernardo Green, whatever that's worth. So, producer Connor knows that I was sending in some voice messages last week going, however the season plays out, whatever happens against the Bills, it's not about that. That there is a bigger picture conversation about Brock Purdy's contract, which we've all had. And I did think, I have to admit, at one point that it was obvious that he was just going to be paid at the top of the quarterback market. He's just going to get the most money, and then some other quarterback will get more money later, but for a period of time, he'll get the most money because that's the way it works. Once upon a time, Josh Allen got the most money. Josh Allen's cap hit this year is like $30 million, which is amazing. It's a great cap hit. It's a great cap hit for him because he's rich. It's a great cap hit for them because he might be the MVP of the league, and he's a $30 million player against the cap right now. And next year it'll be like 42. And then the next year it'll be like 65, but it won't ever be that because they'll restructure it. But that's what it looks like. That's the top of the market right there. And Purdy's at that. Now, can you win with him? Yes. Can you win with him if he's making Way more money than he's making now? Hard to say. Most people would bet no. I ran into a scout. I think Brock Purdy's good. I like Brock Purdy. This is not about what I think they should do. That's an old conversation. This is now about what I think they will do. And my prediction is they will not pay him $60 million, quote unquote, top of the market quarterback money this year. And I'm not sure yet what that means for my prediction. Like, is he just going to play or is he going to take less? That's where I'm leaning on my prediction. And part of that is driven by a couple of things. One, we know they don't want to pay it. They never do. Two, they never do when it comes to quarterbacks. Three, even people who love him, really like him, like me, who are pro Purdy, recognize that he's not Josh Allen. Four, I talked to a scout 2 weeks ago before one of my college football games. And I said, give me what's your Purdy take? And we talked and he likes him, but he's not Josh Allen, like that whole conversation. And I said, would he get $60 million as a free agent? Are there enough teams out there that would bid and bid and bid and bid? I think you need Shanahan tree coaches for this to happen. But are there enough coaches out there that would bid and bid GMs, whatever? I think what makes it, he said no. He said no. I don't think he would get 60. So it's one thing when you pay a guy because you go, well, if he hit free agency, they overpay for quarterbacks and somebody would pay him 60. But I don't think that would happen. The other thing is, I remember listening to him on Tim Kawakami's podcast this offseason. And he was talking about doing commercials. And he said something about, providing for my family. And he got into a conversation about how, he's so famous that it's hard to do normal things. And I think it's well established. He's a pretty normal guy. He's a pretty normal guy. This guy, Black Purdy, man, this guy. And so my point in all that is, he said, I'm doing all these commercials because he lives in this world now that he doesn't quite get paid in the way that most people who live in that world live in, that need that type of privacy or whatever, right? Some people won't like that, but who cares? The point is, let's just say you paid him $45 million, which is a lot of money. It'd be a big percentage of your cap, but for them, it really wouldn't, the way they would structure it. Is that not life-changing money for him? Is he in a position to say, no, that's fine. I don't want it. You could end up in that Kirk Cousins, Washington Commanders world, paying a lot, but it's on a tag, which the Niners and him are not there yet. So I know people say like, players don't take less, or the agent won't let them take less, but when you're a guy making $1 million and somebody says, I know you want 60 because that's what you think the market is, but we don't have to give you that. But here's the thing, 45 could be in your bank account tomorrow. And then you don't have to do the commercial for the cartoon or whatever that thing was I saw the other day. You could do 12 commercials if you want, but you don't have to. I think he's doing the commercials like for the same reason everybody does, to make the money. But for him, it's like to really make, I need to make more money than I'm making as a player. For the other guys, JJ Watt, he's supplementing his income, or he once was now he's replacing it. So that's not really a today conversation. I didn't want to go down that road today because it's not really what this game was about. It's really not. To me, this game was not about Brock Purdy at all. It was about their defense and their defensive coordinator. It was about their depth of personnel or lack of it. They got to get better on defense. It was about, I know it's snowy. Is Ricky Pearsall going to be a contributor for this team? Like I've been pro Pearsall. I was coming out of camp. I thought we'd see him make some plays. He slipped and fell on one today. Again, this isn't the game to judge him on, but maybe last week was. No, backup quarterback. Okay, that's not the game to judge him on. So is the next game the game to, we got to see that in the last month of the season. Is Ricky Pearsall going to be that guy? I know who is that dude. It's John Jennings. But again, I didn't want to go down the quarterback contract road today, but I do think it's an appropriate sidebar when you just go, okay, Josh Allen. Who is looking at Josh Allen's box score tomorrow? No, did you see Josh Allen's efficiency? His quarterback rating was 141. Nobody is talking about his efficiency. It's 13 of 17, 148, 2 touchdowns. QB rating of 141.3. That's what a good quarterback looks like. Nobody's doing that. Everybody's going, did you see that? That's all you need. That's the argument. Did you see that? That's the argument. Kind of weird that he gets a touchdown reception. I haven't looked at my notes once for the show. Wasn't planning. I do the game, possession by possession. What are the moments that matter? What stands out? I'll tell you the moment that mattered. If there's such a thing in a game like this. Taylor Rapp tripping Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey hitting the ground hard, not scoring a breakaway touchdown. Maybe that contributes to the knee injury later. If that's the play he got hurt on, it changes everything. Because they're in position. They're going to go up, 10-0? No, they were going to go up. They're going to go up 10-7. They're going to go up 10-7. All right, Brock Purdy's okay. All right, Connor, let's get to some. Let's get to some of y'all. Oh, you know what's crazy is these super chats, Connor, are not. They don't get starred automatically. Okay, I got to go back and find those. Hold on. Or maybe they did. You starred them. Somebody did. But they're not showing up in the look at this guy. This is why he went to Gonzaga. Super chat from Thomas. 13.99 CAD. The 2022-2023 poor draft class hurts us this year in terms of depth, special teams, etc. While McCaffrey's injury, while he seemed to be in great game shape, hurts. Heal him in BA and the rest. Sorensen is a liability. Well, we are tick, 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 to quote Chris Berman. Jeff Olbrick is going to be available on what day of the week does the season end? Whatever day, January 3rd, whatever day that is. Jeff Olbrick will be available to be hired. And I think you'd have to expect the 49ers to hire him at this point. January 6th. So the season ends on January the 5th. By the way, January 1st, go look at the college football. January 1st has it's the college football quarterfinal. There's 3 college football playoff quarterfinal games. The 49ers today will not dampen my spirits over great football that's coming up this week, conference championship games. So anyway, the 2023, 2022, those 2 draft class hurt the Niners in terms of depth. Yeah, I mean, heal him and BA, no doubt. Get those guys. Can those guys be healthy for the opening of next season? I was texting with somebody today who said that the future looks bad for or it's not good for the 49ers. I said, well, I'm not there yet with them in terms of like next year and the year after, because I still think Purdy, you can win with him, but you have to have a good team. You have to build a good team. And they do have some out. They're going to lose some guys, but they're going to bring some guys can still. Fred Warner can still play, right? But they you don't get to just skip the draft. You don't get to just skip the draft. Did they have a good draft this year? Yes, they did. Did they have a good draft in 2022? No, they didn't. They didn't have a first round pick. Did they have a good draft in 2023? Nah, like Jair Brown's not getting a second contract from the 49ers. I don't think. And We did not do a Ronnie Bell got cut emergency pod last week. And, Jake Moody's the most productive member of the 2023 class. You might say Jair Brown. Maybe we'll say Jair Brown. But the 22 class, let's see, is anybody contributing from that class? Well, the quarterback, the luckiest pick in history, pick 262. I swear to God, maybe this is the week on the hats, by the way. Maybe this is the week on the hats. Yeah, awful. Awful. Good super chat. Next one up. Tell me something good. Let's tell us something good on the Niners. Oof. Well, I told you about Puesto. I mean, this year's draft class, like if you're really asking me, I'd say Renardo Green, Dominic Pooney, Malik Mustafa. Isaac Guerrero's got something to him. Whether he ever gets to touch the football. That's good. I'm not going to stretch it beyond that. I think that's meaty, legitimate. Can't argue with it. Iceman, am I hitting these? Yeah. Brock couldn't beat the cold weather allegations. I like when it's said that way. It doesn't actually make sense, but I like it. The cold weather allegations. I'm just scrolling here. All right, I'm gonna get to some more of these comments, Connor, and if there's another super chat that I didn't see, go ahead and throw it up. All right, Chio says we're one of the worst games I've ever seen. Yes, the Niners were worse in 2016, but we expected bad. This is so bad with the talent. The O-line is one of the worst, and the defense without Bosa is the worst. They just feel like in every 50-50, not in every, they feel often in big moment 50-50 moments in a game. Like it would have felt pretty significant to force two quick punts on Buffalo to start the game that they lose in those moments. Comment says positive. CMC still has it. Comma. Well, he had it. Comment from Tony, 4th place schedule gonna hit like crack next year. You know, Tony, I was looking at their schedule for next year. And, most of the schedule is already set. There's only, 3 games that are still to be determined by their place. And I didn't want to bring this up at this point in time because I don't want to be too positive. It doesn't feel appropriate. But it's not their 4th place schedule that's going to hit like crack. Their whole schedule is not, I don't want to say this right now, but it's not bad. Unless you're trying to sell tickets on the resale market, it's not an interesting schedule. They play the Falcons, the Panthers, the Jags, the Titans at home. I'll repeat slowly. They play the Falcons, the Panthers, the Jags, the Titans at home. They go to Tampa. They go to New Orleans. Fine. They go to Houston. Interesting. And they go to Indy. Okay. They'll play a 4th place schedule in the NFC Central. Cool. Bears. The NFC East. Literally any of them except Philly. And the AFC North, which I think is Cleveland. I got to double check that. So if I'm not here right now on December 1 or December 2, whatever day you're watching or listening to this, I'm not here to start talking about next year's schedule as some the good news is, but you got to admit, well, it's not the most interesting schedule you've ever heard of. You don't have to be great to win some games against that schedule. That's the good news. The bad news is that schedule is in 2025, and we are currently living in 2024, and tomorrow's not promised. Comment, Dre Greenlaw should think about sitting out the rest of the season. Get healthy and get a good deal from another team. I mean, if you're the Niners, you would love to see Dre Greenlaw back on the field this year to really know, to kind of get a sense for what you have. I think the reality is that you're probably not getting 100% of Dre Greenlaw this year in the sense that like he'll be better September 1 next year than he is getting him back this year. If you're him, I think you kind of need to get back on the field to prove to people that you can play, to prove to them that you can play. So, I mean, I'd be surprised if the doctors told Dre Greenlaw, you're good to go, and Dre Greenlaw decided, I'm out. He's got to go play. He has to play. He has to prove that whether it's the Niners or somebody else, that he's worthy of a contract. So, he can't do that without getting on the field. He's got no money coming to him next year. So he's got to go play. There's a lot of college quarterbacks, a lot of college football players these last 3 weeks. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to college football, but Connor, I don't know if I got some good tea on this that I can't say here, but I'll share with Connor later. Like players, it'll come out soon. But people have been worried for years about like players opting out of bowl games. Yeah, you should worry more about them walking away from their teams on a Thursday. Evan says Fred Warner has a fractured ankle, Greenlaw and Achilles, Bosa hip problems. What do you expect from this group? Hip problems sound bad when you say them. Fred Warner, I think it went from being a really impressive season because he was playing like a dominant defensive player of the year level player early to being an impressive season because how hurt he is. It's time for draft talk. Not yet. Although I do love some good draft talk. I don't want to hear. Oh, yeah, it's a good comment. I don't want to hear about Brock's name brought up. This game was about defense and DC. I agree. This game is not about Purdy is hella mid, bro. Let's be honest. He can't play big boy ball. Got that in. Is that a fake super chat, Iceman, or is that a real super chat? Brock couldn't beat the cold weather allegations. Patriots and Panthers look better than the Niners right now. Okay. Emmy says Eagles had their Super Bowl hangover last year and Sirianni was on the hot seat. This season they are back. Hope we'll be back stronger next year. They also replaced their defensive and offensive coordinator. The defensive coordinator is the key part of that. They don't just back. They beat the Ravens today, which sucks because I have a friend who is an Eagles fan and does not stop texting me. And I keep telling him, hey, Ed, I hate the Niners. I hate this more than you. Like, you can't talk any worse shit to me than I already talked to myself about this team. David says, I remember a long time ago when Andy was the head coach and the OC for the Chiefs with Alex Smith. He changed his way and got OC after he lost horrible on a game. Well, he got the quarterback. His GM got him the quarterback. He got the quarterback. But Andy Reid is the offensive. I mean, Andy Reid is the offensive coordinator. Now Matt Nagy will call some plays. Eric Bieniemy calls some plays. But Big Dog is the Big Red. That's the dude. NorCal Refrigeration and HVAC for all your needs. Don't currently have an advertiser in that category. Said NBC punked the Niners with a blooper reel. Was that the one early in the game with guys slipping all over the place? Yeah. What a day. At least we're all living it together. Comment, maybe Kyle Shanahan needs to change the scenery, same as Andy when he left the Eagles. I don't think so. Comment, Brock turned the ball over with a late handoff to Juice. Never got control of the ball, fumbling the ball on a pass attempt. I didn't. Let me bring in producer Connor against his will here. Unprepared. I didn't tell him. Home family Wi-Fi. Hey, did you? I don't know. Is your mic on? Did you think that I heard Tirico say that Purdy got the ball to Juice late? I thought Juice had a hand on it.
I think it got punched out by Rapp. I think Rapp punched it out right at the goal line.
But tell me this. I thought on the replay that Juszczyk had control of the football, that it wasn't like bobbling on the handoff.
I thought so too. I'll have to look at it again.
Yeah.
It's hard to rewatch those plays, but because
because of the Wi-Fi at your parents' house, or because it's painful?
Painful. Oh. No, I think Rapp punched it out, or the safety did at like the 1 yard line. The game was over. It was sealed and delivered at that point.
I'm with you. It was definitely punched. I thought the handoff looked funky because the Niners do that like quick turn. Yeah. It looked funky, but I thought Juszczyk got his hand on it. Yeah. All right, what Connor, you're dialed. What am I missing? What haven't we hit today?
Well, this game, the elements made it as even as possible for the 49ers. It set up pretty well. Like, Niners run the ball, we can win this game. And that was happening over and over in the first quarter, in the first half. There's 5 possessions in their territory, came out with 3 points.
5 possessions in their territory or in the red zone?
In their territory. Okay. And then in third down, you can't throw the ball. And then CMC, and I think you said it earlier.
The 3rd and 7, is that what you're talking about in the red zone? Yeah.
And I think it sums it up. CMC has an 18-yard rush, almost a touchdown to make it a 10-7 game, gets tripped up. Next play he comes in is the play where he slides. The play after that, I think Mason slid, or Mason got a 4-yard loss, but that pretty much sums it up for the season as far as the 49ers and injuries.
Yeah. Yeah, Christian, that it's an almost touchdown and then it's an injury.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Other than that, the 49ers this week, I went back and looked. So they had the worst rest differential as far as teams they played. And the Bills came off a bye, beat us. The Packers had a week 10 bye. So then they play the Bears, then they play the Niners. Doesn't matter. The 49ers record versus teams that had a bye previously, they're 1-3 this year. It has a huge, huge impact. And it clearly shows this year in 2024.
Are you calling them unlucky?
I think the NFL had it out for the 49ers.
Stop it.
No, I'm just kidding. No, it's just the way the schedule goes. And I think 2025, getting the NFC schedule, huh? And the AFC South, and someone said it in the stream, it's in Santa Clara, 26.
Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Is it Santa Clara in 2026?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Shedeur Sanders, Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah. So do you think, and I agree with you, you can end the season right now. Until you're mathematically eliminated, and you see weird stuff all the time in the NFL. But yeah, season's pretty much over. The one final nail in the coffin. But do you think they'll go to tank? Do you think Brock's is going to want to play? Brock's going to want to, put some stats on. 10-7 and missing the playoffs.
Tank. They don't have to. They don't have to tank. What are we watching here? They're tanking.
That's true. That's true. Do they think they've
lost 3 in a row
like that? Yeah.
I do. You're right. Like, the question is, if you're in a playoff race, do you get to a point where you can bring Trent Williams back? He's not 100%, and you do it, right? And then in this year, do you choose not to do that? Right.
Right.
So yeah, but that is tanking. But Brock Purdy's playing.
I think tank in the sense of, like you said,
take Fred Warner off. But Fred can't. It can't get worse. Shanahan said it can't get worse
for Fred.
Mm-hmm.
It looks worse. It looks much worse. That play where Josh Allen they were face to face.
Yeah.
At the goal line and just got outran.
It's snow, man. It's tough. The snow. The snow. What was your scenario? Was it Arizona's schedule you were looking at earlier, or Seattle's schedule you were looking at?
Oh, it was Arizona's, and the 49ers would need Arizona to lose to they would need to lose to the Panthers once, and
New England,
the Rams. And it was just like everything needs to fall perfectly, and the 49ers need to win out, and there's a chance. So, Dumb and Dumber, so you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, well, Seattle, but Seattle's the 7-5. Like Seattle's the team that you're to your point. Like it hurts the Niners if you'd want to be chasing Arizona, not Seattle.
Right. Right.
Although you have already beaten Seattle, and that's what you would try to do against Arizona at the end of the year. I guess just for the intrigue, maybe. But
the morning window setup again, great for the Niners at the first part because Arizona blew the lead and they lost to the Vikings, and the Jets, of course, couldn't put away against the Seahawks. And it's just the tale of two seasons. Seahawks have a D lineman running back an 80-yard pick six, and the 49ers are just
right.
That's just how
Leonard
it goes.
Williams, that looked incredible. Somehow Leonard Williams can get free, but Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel can't. You know what it sets up for, and this is painful, is the Eagles going back to the Super Bowl, I think.
Yeah. It's Eagles look good. Saquon Barkley. I don't know. Who's the MVP right now?
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
You?
Allen, Lamar had a chance today to put a stamp on it against the Eagles, but he didn't play well, or they lost.
Yeah. I just think Saquon's the guy that can like step on the field with the Lions and kind of be like he kind of plays like a Lions player, which is what the Niners used to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Comment, too long on the 262 hats, my guy. Yeah, no shit. All right. You got Buffalo. Is this year Buffalo beats Kansas City in the playoffs? Goes to the Super Bowl? Or if I said pick Harbaugh's Chargers, I'm going to ask you to pick a team that's not in the top 3 right now. That's not winning their division right now. Harbaugh's Chargers to go to the Super Bowl, or Sam Darnold's Vikings. Who are you taking?
Harbaugh's
5 seed in the NFC. Yeah. But they got to go through. They got to go through some version of the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Bills.
That's true, but you have Justin Herbert and a defense that's the best defense in the league.
Okay, last question for you, Connor.
Yeah.
Who is your coach of the year in the NFL?
I almost want to say Sean Payton. And if they can sneak into the playoffs, I kind of think Sean Payton. But wait, I'm trying to think of the guys that are in the top 3.
To me, like the reason I asked the question is because the Steelers are 9-3.
Yeah,
like Tomlin is what comes to mind. I mean,
yeah,
that's why I asked the question. I would say, Andy Reid always is in the mix. Dan Campbell is in the mix. Sirianni, I hate to admit it, but is in the mix. I think my guess has Kevin O'Connell. Who won it last year? Did Kevin O'Connell win it yet? Like that feels like the guy that wins it. It's the winners.
Stefanski last year.
Yeah, so perfect. Like
life comes at you fast.
So the fact that he hasn't won it yet, Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
That's it kind of feels like he's 2 years running. He could have won it. And unlike Stefanski, he backed it up this year. But Pittsburgh just blows me away.
Well, their game today, all year long, pitchers like they win with their defense. They run the ball, play action, moon balls. Today they put up 45 points, 44 points.
44, yeah.
I know the Bengals are shelving themselves on defense, but they can win in different ways.
Yeah. I just can't believe how can you have a quarterback as good as Joe Burrow and be this bad? He gets hurt. He's been hurt several times, but this is 5 years of Burrow, and they're going to miss the playoffs for the 3rd time in 5 years.
Yeah.
Also, they're like the Niners.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. You have the best team on offense and really good players on defense, and you have probably the same record or similar record.
No, worse. They're 4-7, but I just mean as a franchise, they're like the Niners.
Yeah.
Like they're either a Super Bowl contender or a 5-win team.
Yeah. The AFC is much better team-wise than the NFC, but I still think the NFC North, like the Packers they're no easy out. There's going to be a weird upset. Like the Vikings, I don't think they can do it with Darnold in the playoffs, but I think the Packers are going to be a sneaky, really tough matchup for a team.
That's a good call. All right. Any other takes you gotta get out? Big Gonzaga, Kentucky's coming up this week. Connor didn't go to a football school, but he went to a basketball school. It's like a football school. So
right. Gonzaga undefeated undefeated in the United States. The only one loss is in the
I'm
Bahamas.
sorry, what is that stat?
we lost in the battle for Atlantis, and it's in the Bahamas. So we're undefeated in the United States.
Okay.
No, they look good. And college basketball.
I love that stat.
Guy, real quick, what's
Yeah.
your take on the college football rivalry week? I mean, the flags,
The flag
in the
planting?
middle of the field, and the playoffs, everything. Just college football take, real quick.
I went back and watched this morning when I got home. I was in LA this weekend and went out last night. So I was watching Oregon, Washington. We went to a bar last night. Downtown LA is a bizarre place. I was in K-Town is what the bartender said. I wasn't in downtown LA, but whatever.
Okay.
Maybe that is downtown LA. I don't know. But the flag planting is amazing. They got pepper sprayed.
Yeah.
Here, I'll tell you my take. Today, the Big Ten fined Ohio State and Michigan each $100,000 for that melee or melee, depending how you say it. And I just thought it was interesting that when it comes time for a swift and severe punishment, it's a conference that does it, not the NCAA. Like, it took me 3 hours after I saw that news to go, oh, wait a second. Does this mean the NCAA doesn't do anything here? Like the conference, it's like the NFL. It's like we run this, and I work. This is not a Big Ten opinion. Like I work for the Big Ten Network, so I work for the Big Ten. But it just hit me when I watching it. Like when I saw that news today, it's no one's wondering what's the NCAA going to do. They just wonder what is the league going to do.
Right.
The leagues are in charge. But personally, I can't. I would, if I were doing the game with the headset on, I'd be like, this is just, this is not a scene that anybody wants to see. But like on my couch, I'm going like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Which is, you don't like the reality is it's not acceptable or appropriate. But flag planting, it's kind of what you do when you,
right. Well,
here's the question is, do you earn the right to do that when you beat a team, or is it too disrespectful? And I kind of think you earn the right to do that when you beat a team.
You had 60 minutes on the field to prove otherwise, and you didn't.
I win the game. You got to get off the field, and I go plant the flag at your midfield.
Yeah.
That's just, but
being pissed off about it.
And also it is disrespectful.
Right.
But I mean,
I think
Baker did it at Ohio State, right?
Yep.
That's why Bosa didn't like him, but now likes him because he's likable.
Yeah. No, it was a great Saturday Saturday for underdog rival games, because there was every time you look on Twitter, there's another flag being planted, another scuffle.
ASU planted Sparky's trident at Arizona's end zone.
NC State did it.
NC State did it. What was the other one? There's another one.
Michigan, obviously.
I don't know,
but maybe South Carolina. I don't know. There's a lot, but yeah, it was cinema. It was beautiful.
It was cinema. Yeah, it was cinema. All right, good work, Connor.
Thanks.
Do I have to take you out of here, or do you just take yourself out of it? I got to do it. All right. There he is. He's great, man. He's all over it. Oh, by the way, people. While you're getting yourself dialed in, I got to tell you about Prize Picks. Use the code GUY, make a $5 lineup, and immediately get $50, bam, right into your account. If you were doing this during Thanksgiving, you know how much fun it is. If you're thinking, well, what's Monday Night Football? Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm actually kind of fired up because the Sean Payton Broncos that Connor just mentioned, they're playing the Jameis Winston Browns. And I'm going to go all in tomorrow on Bo Nix. Look how easy this is. Code GUY. Bo Nix, more than 224.5 passing yards. He's surged. His rookie of the year odds are at plus 100. Daniels was at minus 150. Sean Payton's got it cooking. Averaging 260 yards per game in his last 5. So give me Bo Nix. This feels like, come on, guys. This one. Every once in a while, there's one that you go, oh, yeah, give me that. I got to find it, though, which is Jameis Winston. Jameis is entertaining for a variety of reasons. one of which is that he throws picks. Give me more than half an interception for Jameis Winston. Broncos defense, 9 picks on the year. That's 6th most in the NFL. And now I'm going to go a little combo, if I can find it. I'm going to go Cortland Sutton. No, I spelled it wrong. Let's find this little sometimes they have these combos. Where's this Monday night one? Which is like 2 players. So I can go Cortland Sutton and David Njoku. But I have to find it for it to work. Well, I can't find it, but it's there. I'm just searching it right now, and I don't think you can search. I think you just have to have it. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll go Browns. Do. That's not coming up. All right. Well, I'm going to go with Sutton. Instead of doing a little combo pick, I'm just going to go with Sutton because if you have not been watching, Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton have been balling together, and the Browns secondary is vulnerable. So I'm going to go more than 4.5 receptions for Cortland Sutton. I am going to put $50 there. I'm going to make it a power play. It pays $175, and bam, that's how you make a lineup. Prize Picks, code guy. I'm going to give you another one, and I've been also loving, by the way, NBA rebounds. It sounds weird, but it's not. Trust me, it's great. But I'm going to make another one off this Monday night game to keep me dialed in on Monday Night Football. I'm going to go more than 35.5 rushing yards for Javonte Williams. Last week he had 10 touches and only 4 scrimmage yards. The Broncos, actually, that means we're going less. Sorry, misclicked it. Cleveland 23rd in rush yards. I didn't misclick it. I was wrong. 23rd in rush yards per game, but we're going to go less on that 35.5. I'm going to go Jerry Jeudy, and I'll post these two on IG. I'm going to go Jerry. Ooh, this feels good. I'm going to go Jerry Jeudy more than 59.5 receiving yards. He's got 73 yards the last 4 games, averaging 95 yards in those 4 games. Broncos a top 10 pass defense in yards per game, allowing just under 200. Last week, the Broncos allowed 300 passing yards to the Raiders. So I'm giving Jerry Jeudy, little revenge game, Jerry Jeudy revenge game. And I'm going to go with a Utah Ute because Devon Vele. Let's go more than 2.5 receptions. He's averaging 4 catches per game in the last 5. Got 9 targets against the Raiders. Can I flex play it? I can. Do I want to? Not really. 50 wins 200 there. All right, code guy. There you go. Sign up with code guy. You'll get $50 as soon as you make a $5 lineup. A comment from Tony. Add a baby Connor. Have Connor on more, says DP Didon. This is good. He needs to hear that he's good. He doesn't. He's confident. He's fine. Agent 49 super chat. Super chat. Hypothetical question. If the Niners decide to promote Staley to DC, do you think they can execute the 3-4 defense? I don't see it happening. Could you do it? I guess the question is, do you mean this year, or are you saying like fire Sorensen this year? Or are you saying do it next year? I guess you could argue they're not so from a personnel standpoint, it's not like they've got 4 studs. It was always the thing with Fangio too. Like everyone, I like Fangio, but he's a 3-4 guy. Now you could argue at this point, you got Bosa, and that's about it. You could kind of reset if you wanted to, but I don't see it. I think they're just going to go to Jeff Ulbrich. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. I think they're going to go to Ulbrich. I'd be surprised. Like if Brandon Staley could fix your defense, shouldn't he be doing it this year? But maybe they would have been willing to. That was always the issue with the Fangio stuff. Okay. That's that for this. It is December. 1 month left in 2024. What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything really, other than if you're one of those people, I hate saying like, oh, time, God, it's just the season flew or something like that, right? I don't like being surprised by time passing because it's happening. It's going to happen fast. And it's true. Like my college football season ended this week. My crew's amazing. We all got together on Friday night at our hotel in LA, and we're sitting out on the balcony by the bar, the fire pit, and just hanging out and telling stories. And it's like, God, this season flew by. And it's true, it did. But I always make an effort. I try to be conscious of time in that way and not get tricked by it in a year or 2 years. But it's like, God, I don't feel any different yet. I'm a year older, and then another year older, and then another year older. So what does it mean? What am I saying? I'm saying don't mope. Have a good week. Have a good month. And I'll talk to you very soon. This week. We'll talk soon. Yeah. What comes next? What do we do with this team? We got some college football games to watch. Daniel, we'll finish with this comment from Daniel. It's not time to give it all up. It's just time to stop having the highest paid player to every position. When you have the oldest team in football, you have the high salaries and a lot of injuries. We need depth. You are right, Daniel. So everybody start sending me your college football players to watch. And maybe you can bring back Jeff Ulbrich and Robert Saleh together. Oh, is Robert going to do that? I don't know if Robert's going to do that. Okay. On that note, everybody, thanks for hanging. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're on the podcast feed, great. Thank you. 5 stars. And if you want to send a message to the mailbag, email me at guy@heyguy.com.